So brothers and sisters, what we're going to do is we're going to now have the reading of the law. We're going to have the reading of the law. We're going to read Exodus, the 20th chapter, and we're going to read verses 1 through 17. That's Exodus, the 20th chapter, verses 1 through 17. Okay, go ahead.
And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's.
Now we're going to go and read Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter, verses 13 and 14. Go ahead.
Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For God shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil.
Now we're going to read Revelation, the 22nd chapter, verses 14 and 15. Go ahead and read it.
Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates into the city. For without are dogs, and sorcerers, and whoremongers, and murderers, and idolaters, and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie.
Brothers and sisters, how come people act like that said, cursed is he that keep these commandments? As we can see that these commandments have to be kept, as the Lord is showing us through his word from Genesis to Revelation, to the last book in the Bible. If you do not keep these commandments, you will remain in the state that Adam and Eve put us in the beginning, without the mercies and the blood of Jesus. You have heard the reading of the law. I'd like to say good afternoon to the brothers and sisters here in Memphis. My name is Brother Jacob. It is a pleasure to stand before you, even though it's hot on the Lord's Sabbath day in here. I tell you, it is great to stand before you again here to deal with the Word of God. I'd like to say welcome to those that may be here for the first time. Welcome here to the Israel of God, where we teach you the Word of God by subjects and by titles. Our motto here is, if you can't read it, then don't believe it. We believe everything in this Bible from Genesis to Revelation. That's why we're going to tell you about it. But if it's not in between the pages of Genesis and Revelation, you won't hear us say anything on it.
Yes, sir.
So what we're going to do is we're going to get to this afternoon's lesson. And this afternoon's lesson is called the Lord's Sabbath Day. The Lord's Sabbath Day. You notice I didn't say the Jews' Sabbath day? You notice I didn't say the Sabbath of the Israelites? The Lord's Sabbath day. And we're going to find out some things about the Lord's Sabbath day, that it is indeed the Lord's Sabbath day. But brothers and sisters, this Sabbath has a greater meaning. We're here on the Lord's Sabbath day because it's commanded for us to be here. This is a commandment that we are here even today. And we're going to find out that this is a reminder for a Sabbath of rest in the future. See, the Lord gave us the Sabbath day. He wants us to take a load off, be refreshed, you understand, and not get burnt out. But at the same time, he wants us to sit down, come together, have a convocation, and be reminded of this future day of rest. Oh, because it's going to be some relief, brothers and sisters. So what we want to do, we're going to start this off in Exodus, the 20th chapter, because the Lord's Sabbath day is so important to the Lord gave it to us in the commandment. And we just read it. We're going to read it again. Exodus, the 20th chapter. Today's lesson is called the Lord's Sabbath day. We ain't going to read all the commandments because we're focusing on the Lord's Sabbath day here, even though all these are to be kept, as we done found out. Exodus 20 and verse 1. Go ahead and read.
And God spake all these words, saying.
And God spake all these words, saying. Moses just wrote them.
Right.
Go ahead and read.
I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
I'm the one that brought you out of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. See, the Lord is letting them know who he is. Now, let's skip down to verse 8. Look what the Lord spake. He spoke this in the ears of the entire nation. Every last one of these Israelites that he brought out of Egypt heard him speak these words in their very own ears.
Yes.
Verse 8, go ahead and read.
Remember the Sabbath day.
Remember the Sabbath day. So nowadays, people that don't want to deal with the Lord's Sabbath day, they say, well, every day is the Lord's Sabbath day. Wait a minute, then why would he say remember the Lord's Sabbath day? You don't tell somebody to remember to do something that they do all the time, like remember to breathe. That don't make sense, do it?
Right.
When you eat your food, remember to swallow. You naturally do that, don't you? Just like you naturally breathe, right? So you don't need to remind. So that lets you know this is something that you don't do every day. If I got to remind you. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Go ahead and read.
6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work.
6 days shall you labor and do all your work. That's a commandment within itself. Go ahead and read.
But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God.
It's the Sabbath of the Jews.
The Lord.
The Israelites.
The Lord thy
The
God.
7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. What about this Sabbath day? Go ahead and read.
In it thou shalt not do any work. Thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates.
So nobody's working on this day. Your manservant, your maidservant, if you are a boss, your employees, that's your manservant or your maidservant, they can't work. You can't put them to work. Right. He don't want the cattle's plowing. Right. Everybody on chill mode on the 7th day. Yes. He says 6 days you labor, but the 7th day you can't. So every day can't be the Sabbath day. Every day you ain't going to work. How you going to pay your rent? How you going to pay your mortgage? How you going to make a living if every day the Sabbath day? Can't be, brothers and sisters. Right. He don't even want the stranger working. Why is this? Go ahead and read.
For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the 7th day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it.
So the Lord rested on the 7th day. He called it the Sabbath day, and he hallowed it. He hallowed it. He blessed it. Why you don't want to deal with a day that the Lord blessed? See, every day, well, yeah, every day is what the Lord has made. He said, let us rejoice and be glad in it. But he gave you specific instructions for the 7th day.
That's right.
And it don't go from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, brothers and sisters. He referred us back to what the Lord in the beginning did. Let's go back to the beginning. He said the Lord created the heavens and the earth. He rested the 7th day. He hallowed it and he blessed it. Genesis, the 2nd chapter. Genesis 2. And we're going to start reading at verse 1. Genesis 2 and 1. 2 and 1. Go ahead and read it.
Thus the heavens and the earth were finished,
They're finished. Go ahead and read.
and all the host of them.
Uh-huh.
And on the seventh day, God ended his work which he had made.
He ended his works which he had made. Go ahead.
And he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made.
And he rested. He ended. That means finished. All done.
Right.
Phew, take a load off.
Right.
Go ahead and read.
3. And God blessed the seventh day
God blessed the seventh day. Moses didn't lie. He ain't lying. Go ahead and read.
and sanctified it.
And sanctified it. Not only did he bless and hallow the seventh day, and it's the only day that he named, the only number that he named, because he gave numbers. He blessed and sanctified it. Sanctified means to separate or set apart. That lets you know that 7 is in a class by itself. Right. It don't go with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right. It's all by itself. Sanctified. Go ahead and read.
Because that in it he had rested from all his work which God created and made.
And so, because in it he rested, he ended, he finished, he's done. Skip down to verse 7 and read.
And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground.
Wait a minute, hold on, wait a minute. I thought he rested, took a load off, sat down, wiped the sweat off, I'm done. Did he get up and form man from the dust of the ground? Wait a minute. See, brothers and sisters, we're going to show you that the Lord said when he rested, he wasn't talking about a literal day. He's talking about a day in the future. He just told you that at the beginning. He told you the end of the story at the beginning. He formed man in the dust of the ground. Go ahead and read.
And breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And man became a living soul.
That's right. Man became a living soul. And once he made this man, he started to instruct this man, as the Lord always do with this man. So, brothers and sisters, we see he sanctified it. He blessed the 7th day. He called it the Sabbath day. It's very important to him because he did it. Then he told you to do it too. So let's show you how serious he is about it. Because this is not a request. This is not, well, if you feel like it. Numbers 15 and verse 32. Let's go there. Numbers the 15th chapter. Because we want to see how serious this is for us the Sabbath day. Lord going to give us a commandment to remind us. All to remind you. Numbers 15, and we're going to start reading at verse 32. Numbers 15 and 32. Go ahead and read.
And while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man that gathered sticks upon the Sabbath day.
Uh-oh, he ain't supposed to be doing that. He gathered sticks on the Sabbath day. Did the Lord say no word?
You're right.
Go ahead and read.
And they that found him gathering sticks brought him unto Moses and Aaron and unto all the congregation.
And they that found him gathering sticks brought him to Moses and all the congregation. What they bringing him to Moses and all the congregation for? Get your hands off me. What you doing?
All right.
Because they know that that's not something he was supposed to be doing. So they brought him to Moses and Aaron and all the congregation. What Moses and them do? Go ahead and read.
And they put him in ward because it was not declared what should be done to him.
So they locked him up because it wasn't declared what should be done to him. The Lord said, don't work. But he didn't say what he was going to do to you if you did work anyway. So they waited on the Lord. They locked him up. Lord, what do we do? What the Lord say?
And the Lord said unto Moses, the man shall be surely put to death.
The man maybe should be put to death.
Shall be surely put to death.
Possibly.
Surely.
Surely put to death. Go ahead and read.
All the congregation shall stone him with stones without the camp.
And told him how to put him to death. All the congregation gonna brick him to death. Without the camp. Let's see if Moses and them gonna try to pray for this guy. He already said surely. Go ahead and read.
And all the congregation brought him without the camp and stoned him with stones, and he died, as the Lord commanded Moses.
And they brought him without the camp, and they stoned him with stones as the Lord commanded Moses. Moses and Aaron them didn't just say, hey, yo, man, we're going to kill you. No, the Lord gave the instructions. Just like the Lord is the one that gave the instructions to remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy anyway. He said to keep it holy. That's specific. That's a way that you treat the 7-day Sabbath this day. You don't treat this like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's different. It's sanctified. Now look what the Lord goes and do after that. What verse?
37.
Go ahead and read.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and bid them that they make them fringes in the borders of their garments throughout their generations. And that they put upon the fringe of the borders a ribbon of blue.
And that they make fringes and put it on the borders of their garment. Why is he telling them to do this? Skip down to verse 40 and see why. Go ahead and read.
That ye may remember and do all my commandments and be holy unto your God.
Oh, so he had them to wear fringes that they may remember to keep the commandments. You understand? He just got a man stoned to death. So fringes that don't make you not break God's law. It's supposed to remind you not to break the law.
Right.
You understand?
Yes.
But if you can go against them anyway with fringes on anyway. Because if they was to help, then the Lord would have gave him before he had the man stoned to death for picking up sticks on a Sabbath day. He could have saved a life. They didn't work. But it was to remind you. Go ahead and read.
I am the Lord your God, which brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am the Lord your God.
I am the Lord your God. That's why he was telling you to remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Then I gave you fringes to remind you. It didn't work. They still polluting the Sabbath day. And people that want to still lessen the Sabbath, well, you know, people still pollute the Sabbath day. We ain't stoning nobody. Had a guy tell me, why you ain't stoning me for keeping it? See, brothers, look, the punishment is not a brick no more and stoning you to death. The punishment now, fire and brimstone both at the same time burning on your body while flesh worms are eaten forever. That's the punishment now. It's an upgrade. I'll take the stoning anytime. But the upgrade now, that's paid for. Because see, this is what we got to understand. Let's go to 1 Timothy, the 5th chapter. 1 Timothy, the 5th chapter. See, we still got people, they breaking the Sabbath and all that. Hey, but if you breaking the Sabbath knowingly that you ain't supposed to be dealing with it, the Lord ain't changed. He have not gotten soft since that time that he had the man stoned to death for picking up sticks on the Sabbath day. 1 Timothy, the 5th chapter. This is what we got to understand. Verse 24. Verse 24. Go ahead and read.
Some men's sins are open beforehand, going before to judgment.
As the man picking up sticks on a Sabbath day. His sins were open beforehand, before all the congregation and everybody, and went to judgment, being stoned to death. You understand? Some. You understand? Just like Miriam and Aaron both spoke against Moses, and the Lord was mad about it. But Miriam turned white. Nothing didn't happen to Aaron. He says some men are open beforehand going into judgment. Go ahead and read.
And some men, they follow after.
Oh, so he ain't getting away with it. Aaron didn't get away with it. Just come later. Just like if you polluting the Sabbath day knowingly, guess what? You're going to get later. And it ain't going to be stoning. We talking fire here. We talking fire here. You know, they say the Lord is that serious about it? Yes, he is. It's a commandment. Remember that commandment of remembering the Lord's Sabbath day and keeping it holy. 6 days work being done and no work on the 7-day Sabbath was connected with thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, honor your mother and father, don't commit adultery. Those are commandments. It was 10 of them. The Sabbath day is one of them. So you can't lessen it. So if you broke the Sabbath day, you polluted the Sabbath day, you dishonored your mother and father. If you committed adultery, you just killed somebody. There's no degree in those commandments, brothers and sisters. So the Sabbath day is just as serious as the rest of them. Go ahead and read.
25. Likewise also the good works of some are manifest beforehand, and they that are otherwise cannot be hid.
And it works the same way with the good works. Sometimes your works come beforehand, and sometimes you get your reward later.
That's right, bro.
You understand? That's the thing here. And this is the thing that the world need to understand. When it comes to the 7-day Sabbath day, who is the one that gave the Sabbath day? Who is that Lord that said, the man shall surely be put to death? All the congregation shall stone him without the count. Let's show you who said this. Let's go to St. John, the 5th chapter. This is the mystery to the world here. St. John, the 5th chapter. Who is the God that told Moses and the congregation to stone him? He gonna surely die. The last time the Lord would put surely on death, we had been dying ever since. He told Adam, the day you eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, that's the day you shall surely die. We still dying. The Lord put that surely on there. It's over with. Right. Ain't a prayer that can go up that can change his mind on it. St. John 5 and verse 22. Because we're going to find out who is that God that says stone him. And we're going to find out quick who is not. Go ahead and read.
For the Father judgeth no man.
The Father judgeth no man. So he wouldn't have been putting no judgment on the man picking up sticks on the Sabbath day. He don't judge no man. Go ahead and read.
But hath committed all judgment unto the Son.
Whoa. But have committed all judgment unto the Son? Yes. So, Brother Jacob, are you saying that was Jesus? Well, let the book tell you. You saying that was Jesus that said stone a man for picking up sticks on the Sabbath day? Skip down to verse 46. Verse 46. Go ahead and read.
For had ye believed Moses.
And this is Jesus talking. He said, for had you believed Moses, go ahead and read.
Ye would have believed me.
Why?
For he wrote of me.
He put himself and Moses on the same level when it comes to belief. He said, had you believed Moses, you would have believed in me. He didn't say, had you believed in Moses, you believe more in me. He didn't say that, did he?
No.
He said, had you believed Moses, you would have believed me. He wrote of me. He wrote of me. That means Moses wrote of him. Go ahead and read.
But if ye believe not his writings.
But if you believe not his writings, Moses wrote the first 5 books of this book. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. If you don't believe Moses' writings, this is Jesus talking. Go ahead and read.
How shall ye believe my words?
How shall you believe my words? Jesus just took the authority of those words that Moses wrote was his. So when it opened up in Exodus, the 20th chapter, and God spake all these words saying, that was Jesus. I am your God that brought you out of the land of Egypt. You shall have no other gods before me. Remember that Sabbath day to keep it holy. That was Jesus. Yeah. So if you don't believe Moses' writings, you have no use for Jesus. You get a whole lot of them got Jesus' name in their mouth. But, oh, we ain't got to keep no Sabbath day. See, we just rest in Christ. Huh? When did Jesus say that? He had a man stoned to death for picking up sticks on the Sabbath day. Are you saying that he changed? Didn't he say he changed not? He's the same yesterday, today, and forever?
Yes.
Who are you talking about? That other Christ, that other Jesus that Paul warned us about. That was Jesus that said stone a man for picking up sticks on the Sabbath day. It was him that gave the Sabbath day. Let's get some more confirmation on these things. Let's go to 1 Corinthians, the 10th chapter. 1 Corinthians, the 10th chapter. I didn't know that about Jesus. You thought he just loved unconditionally? Where did you find that about? So now we know Moses wrote all about Jesus. That was him that said, let us make man in our image after our likeness. That was him that told Noah, build the ark. I'm finna kill everybody on the earth. See, when you know who you're dealing with, then you are extra careful about dealing with what his commandments are. You careful. 1 Corinthians 10 and verse 5. Verse 1, I'm sorry. 1 Corinthians 10 and 1. Go ahead and read.
Moreover, brethren, I would not that you should be ignorant how that all our fathers were under the cloud and all passed through the sea. And were all baptized unto Moses in the cloud and in the sea.
And were all baptized into Moses in the cloud and in the sea. Cloud and in the sea. Go ahead and read.
And did all eat the same spiritual meat.
This is the same gospel. This spiritual meat. That's the word of God. They had the same word. They heard the same gospel. They had the same commandments. Go ahead and read.
And did all eat the same spiritual meat. And did all drink the same spiritual drink. For they drank of that spiritual rock that followed them. And that rock was Christ.
That rock was Christ that followed them. That was Christ back there with Israel.
Yes.
Coming through the Red Sea. That was Jesus. That was Jesus with them. Go ahead and read.
Yes. But with many of them, God was not well pleased.
Oh, so God, wait a minute, I thought it was Christ, because that's when he was God.
Teach.
That's when he was God. When he came in the flesh, he wasn't God, he was man. He said, but with many of them, God was not pleased. With many of them, Jesus was not well. You mean so it wasn't just the man picking up sticks on the Sabbath day that he was mad with? Or he wasn't pleased with? Go ahead and read.
For they were overthrown in the wilderness.
For they were overthrown in the wilderness. The Lord let all them evil people that he brought out of Egypt that sinned against him, he let them all die in the wilderness, let their carcasses drop, and only let their children get off into the promised land. That was Jesus that did that. So the man picking up sticks on the Sabbath day wasn't the only one that angered him, that he wasn't pleased with. Skip down to verse 9 and read.
Neither let us tempt Christ, as some of them also tempted and were destroyed of serpents.
Whoa, neither let us tempt Christ as they also tempted him. And they were destroyed of serpents. That was Jesus that brought all them serpents out there that was biting the people and killing them. And the Lord told Moses, and they prayed to Moses, prayed to the God, and Moses prayed to God. He said, put a serpent on that stick and post it up. If anybody get bit, all they got to do is look at it and they'll live. That was Jesus. That was Jesus. Read verse 10 for me.
Neither murmur ye, as some of them also murmured, and were destroyed of the destroyer.
And were destroyed of the destroyer? You mean you ain't never heard Jesus to be a destroyer? Or Christ being a destroyer? You hearing about the real Jesus today. Even the Lord of the Sabbath day. This is him. Don't even murmur. Murmuring? That's under your breath. You ain't even utter no words. You murmuring and complaining. He hear that. He hear that. Did he tell Moses, I heard the murmuring of his people. I hear him. So now we know we got to keep the Sabbath day. We know it's important to the Lord. We know that Lord, even Jesus is the one that gave it. So now we got the listening ears, and you wants to do what you got to do. You want to keep this Sabbath day holy as the Lord said. And something come up, you say, well, what if I got to work on the Sabbath day? I'm glad you asked. That's a good question. But what if you have to work on the Sabbath day? Let's go to Matthew the 12th chapter. Let's see. See, the Lord is serious about his thing, but he's a reasonable God. Very reasonable. Sensible. Full of compassion. He understands situations. What if I have to work on a Sabbath day? Matthew 12, and we're going to start reading at verse 1. 12 and 1, because this is when the Pharisees, these Jews, accusing Jesus' disciples of polluting the Sabbath day. Now, you know when you pollute the Sabbath day, you can get killed. 12 and 1. Matthew 12 and verse 1. Go ahead and read it.
At that time, Jesus went on the Sabbath day through the corn, and his disciples were an hungered and began to pluck the ears of corn and to eat.
So they going through the cornfield, and his disciples get the plucking the corn, they just eating. Go ahead and read.
But when the Pharisees saw it, they said unto him, Behold, thy disciples do that which is not lawful to do upon the Sabbath day.
They said, your disciples ain't supposed to be doing that on the Sabbath day. They doing that which is not lawful. But what the Lord tell them? Go ahead and read.
But he said unto them, Have ye not read what David did when he was an hungered?
Now you notice that he didn't say, have you not read what David did on the Sabbath day?
Right.
He said, have you not read what David did when he was hungry? See, the Lord is starting to tell you about necessity. Necessary things that come up on a Sabbath day. Have you not read what David did when he was hungry? Go ahead and read.
And they that were with him,
And they that were with him, what they do?
how he entered into the house of God, and did eat the showbread, which was not lawful for him to eat, neither for them which were with him, but only for the priests.
And the priest is the one that gave it to him. He ate the showbread. It was only designated for the priests. Him and all the people that were with him. The Lord didn't strike the priest dead. David and them wasn't done. The Lord didn't say that nothing happened to them. Go ahead and read.
Or have you not read in the law how that on the Sabbath days the priests in the temple profane the Sabbath and are blameless?
Wait a minute. Have you not read that the priests in the temple profane the Sabbath day and are blameless? Wait a minute. You had a man stoned to death for picking up sticks on the Sabbath, and you want to have somebody profane the Sabbath day in the temple and blameless? Wait a minute. This is disrespectful. Respect the person going on, huh?
Yeah, ain't that enough?
No, it ain't, brothers and sisters. No, it ain't. He said they are blameless. Why are they blameless? Let me show you. Let's go back, because he asked you, have you not read? Had a priest profane the Sabbath. Let's go to Leviticus, the 6th chapter. They profane the Sabbath and they are blameless. What makes them so blameless and they polluted the Sabbath? In the temple. Leviticus, the 6th chapter. And we're going to start reading at verse 8. Leviticus, the 6th chapter, and verse 8. See how the Lord is referring you back. Have you not read? Have you not read? That's where your understanding comes from. Jesus even told them to search the scriptures. So we're going back to look at the scriptures. Leviticus 6 and verse 8. Go ahead and read.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Command Aaron and his sons, saying, This is the law of the burnt offering.
This is the law of the burnt offering. This is from the Lord here. Go ahead and read.
It is the burnt offering because of the burning upon the altar all night until the morning, and the fire of the altar shall be burning in it.
Because the burning of the altar all night until the morning, the fire got to be burning in it. Skip down to verse 12. Verse 12. Go ahead and read it.
And the fire upon the altar shall be burning in it. It shall not be put out.
It shall not be put out. Go ahead and read.
And the priest shall burn wood on it every morning, and lay the burnt offering in order upon it. And he shall burn thereon the fat of the peace offering.
And he got to burn the fat of the peace offering on it. You can't put it out. Go ahead and read.
The fire shall ever be burning upon the altar.
The fire shall ever be burning on the altar. Go ahead and read.
It shall never go out.
It shall never go out. So you can't not let the fire go out. You can't put the fire out. It has to ever be burning. Here come the Sabbath day and you go, you just broke that law. That's why they blameless, brothers and sisters. They didn't put the fire out even on the Sabbath day. Why? Because they were keeping the law. They were keeping what the Lord told them to do. Sometimes things come up on the Sabbath day that you got to do, and the Lord is okay with that. He understands that. You got to work. You got to work sometimes. The fire truck. Going to a burning building. He's trying to save life. He go through the red light. The police going to pull him over. No. It's necessary. It's necessary. Sometimes things come out. This is why the Lord put this to them when they disciples polluting the Sabbath day. Have you not read? They just eating the corn. They wasn't barreling it. They wasn't collecting it. They just eating. David and them, they just ate the bread. They were hungry. Right. He was running for his life from the sword that the Lord put behind him, that he said was never going to drop off in his house. He with the people. The priest said, I ain't got no food but this bread. But if y'all been clean from women or whatever, hey, he said, yeah, all these days we been. Here, y'all gonna have it. Lord was good with it. Had no problem with it. How is it he gonna tell them they're gonna put the fire on the Sabbath day because you ain't supposed to kindle a flame on the Sabbath day and the Lord gonna deal with them on that? Well, Lord, you say it shall ever be burning. How long is ever?
Forever.
It don't go out. Lord ain't setting you up to bring wrath down on you. He ain't doing that. He know when things come up on the Sabbath day that you ain't got no power over, then hey, he understands that. But if you do have the power over it, he understands that too. So you can't fool God. Let's go back to Matthew the 12th chapter. Let's go back to Matthew the 12th chapter. Matthew the 12th chapter. And we're going to pick it up at verse 8. Matthew 12, and we're going to start reading at verse 8. Go ahead and read.
For the Son of Man is Lord even of the Sabbath day.
And he done told them that. You know, you get a lot of people that want to get away from the Sabbath day. They say, see, because Lord, he the Lord over the Sabbath day. You mean you're going to interpret that as you don't have to keep the Sabbath day no more because Jesus said he the Lord of the Sabbath day? Yeah, he's the one that gave it. You understand? In other words, he's saying, I'm the one that gave the Sabbath day. I own it. It's like saying, look, I own my car. I'm the Lord over that car. But can I take that car and not get any registrations on it, any stickers on it? Can I take that car and run through traffic lights and things like that? Because I'm the Lord of that car? I own that? It don't change anything. I don't see how is it that they going to come up with that. He's the Lord of the Sabbath day, letting you know I'm the one that gave it. So I'm explaining to you that guess what? I understand when things come up on the Sabbath day. Skip down to verse 11. Verse 11. Go ahead and read.
And he said unto them, what man shall there be among you that shall have one sheep, and if it fall into a pit on the Sabbath day, will he not lay hold on it and lift it out?
He said, what man is, you got one sheep, and your sheep fall in the hole on the Sabbath day. Ain't you going to lift it up and get it out of there? He don't mind that. This sheep falling there, whatever, it's got to be hard to get it out. You probably got to get a rope, tied around it. You might need some more people to help you. We're going to wheel this up. You sweating and somebody going to come and pay. Oh, y'all polluting the Sabbath day. No, the Lord said you're going to get them up out of there. Why? Because he understands that is your means of making money or your means of eating. He understands that. He understands that. He ain't going to condemn you. It's the Sabbath day. It happened. You didn't expect it. It's something that happened, so I got to do this. He understands those things. Go ahead and read.
12. How much then is a man better than a sheep?
And a man is better than a sheep. So he ain't trying to destroy you or you trying to save the one little thing. So if you got to go to work, the boss say, hey, you got to work. Because you got to make a living. You got to pay your bills. Or you're going to be fired. So you don't quit your job. You don't do that. You continue to pray to the Lord that he'll let you out on a Sabbath day and the Lord will hear you. Trust me, I'm a living witness. Several times before. The Lord know your heart. He knows your heart, so you can't fool him. You ain't going in on no Sabbath day, well, I need me some overtime. No. He said 6 days shall you labor, but the 7th day, no work for nobody. And if he see you trying to keep the Lord's Sabbath day, and you serving him with all your heart, he'll soften the heart of your employer. Okay, you can have this day off. He understands. Let's go to Psalms, the 51st chapter. Here we have 12. Read that verse 12 again, I'm sorry. Before we go there, read verse 12 in the 12th chapter. Matthew 12 and 12.
Go ahead. How much then is a man better than a sheep? Wherefore it is lawful to do well on the Sabbath day.
It's lawful to do well on the Sabbath day. So you ain't got to be walking around like, oh, can I do? The man asked for some money on the Sabbath day. Can I give him some money? You ain't working. You ain't doing nothing. That's doing well.
Right, doing well.
Ain't wrong with feeding them, giving them something to eat. Now, you ain't going to go in the store and buy them anything. You give them the money. Because then you be buying and selling. Psalms, the 51st chapter. Psalms, the 51st chapter. Lord is letting you know he understands situations. They come up. But them Pharisees, them Jews, they didn't want to condemn somebody. So busy want to condemn somebody and they ain't even broken the Sabbath day. That's why he said the priests, they didn't break the Sabbath day. They was doing what the Lord said. David and them was hungry. You got to eat. Lord know that. He knows that. That's why he told you take no thought of what you going to eat or drink or even put on. Seek ye first the kingdom of God. So if I'm being a good person, I'm going to give a homeless person some money, I ain't polluting the Sabbath day. Just like when we drive out of town to the class, the road crew, we got to get gas to roll the vans. Why? Because we're doing the business of the Lord. The Lord knows we're going to spread the gospel. We got to spread the gospel. The work of the Lord have to continue. The fire have to ever be burning. Psalms 51 and verse 16. 51 and 16. Go ahead and read it.
For thou desirest not sacrifice, else would I give it.
He didn't desire no sacrifice, or that he would have gave it. He only gave it to you so he wouldn't kill the sinner. He would put him in your place. Right. So he wouldn't have to kill you. So he didn't want sacrifice, or that was something that he would have just gave to you. For thou desirest not sacrifice, else would I give it. Go ahead and read.
Thou delightest not in burnt offering.
No, he don't. Ain't no delight in that. Go ahead and read.
The sacrifices of God are a broken spirit.
That's the sacrifice of a God, a broken spirit. I'm in hunger. I need some understanding. I'm famished. I'm thirsty. I'm in need. That's a sacrifice, a broken spirit. Go ahead and read.
A broken and a contrite heart.
A broken and a contrite heart. I'm trying to figure out this. Go ahead and read.
Oh God, thou wilt not despise.
He ain't going to despise one that's in this situation like that. I got to work for a living. How am I going to pay my bills? No, you're going to keep my Sabbath. No, it ain't like that. He is not going to despise you on that situation. Then y'all just sing that?
Yes, sir.
Lord is a sensible God, heartful, reasonable, loving, merciful, understanding. But if you go the wrong way on him, you know how he can be. You know how he can get. He don't change. So you can't fool him. Don't try him. Ezekiel, the 20th chapter. Let's go to Ezekiel, the 20th chapter. See, the Lord even wanted to destroy the whole nation, Israel, over his Sabbath. That's just how serious he is about his Sabbath. Ezekiel, the 20th chapter, and we're going to start reading at verse 9. Ezekiel 20 and 9. Because he was going to kill Israel in Egypt. He was going to destroy them down in there. I didn't even know that. Right. I thought they just got rebellious when they got out there in the wilderness. You know what I'm saying? No, these people been rebellious long before that. Mm-hmm. Because remember, the Lord say they ain't going to believe me when I go tell them that you sent me. They're going to ask me, what's your name and all that. Israel been Israel a long time. Mm-hmm. Ezekiel 20 and 9. 20 and 9. Go ahead and read.
But I wrote for my name's sake, that it should not be polluted before the heathen, among whom they were, in whose sight I made myself known unto them.
Oh, so he wasn't going to kill them in Egypt because for his name's sake. He made himself known before the Egyptians in their face. So I wasn't going to kill these people that I've told him to let go. You understand? Other than that, I would have just told him to keep them. Go ahead and read.
And bringing them forth out of the land of Egypt.
Go ahead and read.
Wherefore I caused them to go forth out of the land of Egypt and brought them into the wilderness.
So I told them, I let them go. After I killed all the firstborn in there, and I brought them into the wilderness. Go ahead and read.
And I gave them my statutes and showed them my judgments, which if a man do, he shall even live in them.
You're going to live in them. I showed you my statutes and my judgments. If you do them, you're going to live in them. Go ahead and read.
12. Moreover, also I gave them my Sabbaths.
I gave them my Sabbaths. Go ahead and read.
To be a sign between me and them.
To be a sign between me and them. A sign. It identifies. The Sabbath is a sign. Mm-hmm. That lets you know you connected with the God of Israel. Right. This is the one that dropped all those plagues in Egypt. This is the one that executed the judgment on all the gods of Egypt. It's a sign between me and you. Go ahead and read.
That they might know that I am the Lord that sanctify them.
Because then I sanctify you. So when you keep in the Sabbath day, you sanctify to the Lord.
That's right.
Go ahead and read.
But the house of Israel rebelled against me in the wilderness.
But they rebelled against them in the wilderness. Go ahead and read.
They walked not in my statutes. And they despised my judgments.
Oh, they hated his judgments. They didn't walk in his statutes. They hated what he told them and what he commanded them to do. Go ahead and read.
Which if a man do, he shall even live in them.
Go ahead and read.
And my Sabbaths they greatly polluted.
How did they pollute it? Greatly. Greatly polluted it. Go ahead and read.
Then I said, I would pour out my fury upon them in the wilderness to consume them.
Because they greatly polluted his Sabbath, so he said, I'm going to pour out my fury in the wilderness. I'm going to kill them all. That's one man. He told Moses that. I'm going to kill them all over his Sabbath day, polluting his Sabbath. But, go ahead and read.
But I wrote for my name's sake that it should not be polluted before the heathen, in whose sight I brought them out.
But I didn't want to pollute my name. I did it for my name's sake, not to kill them, because I didn't want to destroy all these people. I brought all these people out in their sight. Everybody knew that Israel's God, the God of Israel, is the God of gods. Everybody feared him. So now I'm going to kill these people that I just brought out of Egypt after destroying their slavers. And now the people are going to go, man, I don't want to serve him. So he said, for my name's sake, I didn't do it. But it was all over his Sabbath day. They greatly polluted it. Greatly polluted it. He done killed thousands, though. He still will kill. He ain't lost his touch. He ain't got soft in no ways. He still got the same drive. We talking Jesus here. We know this. We done found this out early. Let's go to Exodus, the 30th chapter, the 31st chapter. Exodus, the 31st chapter. He was going to destroy the whole nation over his Sabbath day. Exodus, the 31st chapter. And we're going to start reading at verse 13, 31 and 13. 31 and 13. Go ahead and read it.
Speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, Verily my Sabbaths ye shall keep.
Verily my Sabbaths ye shall keep. Go ahead and read.
For it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations.
Why?
That ye may know that I am the Lord that doth sanctify you.
See how he keeps saying again, it's a sign between me and you. Sign identifies. So the ones that keep the first day of the week, and you're going to call that the Sabbath, that's a sign between somebody else. The Lord say the Sabbath, which is the one he called the seventh day, he named Sabbath. That's a sign between me and you. So you know that I sanctify you. Go ahead and read.
Ye shall keep the Sabbath therefore, for it is holy unto you.
Uh-huh.
Everyone that defileth it shall surely be put to death.
There, that's surely put to death again. Everyone that defileth shall surely be put to death. Go ahead and read.
For whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people.
That soul, that's anybody. That's anybody, male or female. Any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. And we done already talked about this here. I said, well, hey, because you thinking somebody's supposed to drop dead, because they do, people always polluting the Sabbath day. Remember, some get their punishment later, some get it now. So you're just getting by. You ain't getting away with it. You ain't getting away with it. That's if you knowingly doing this here. Or those that don't understand, that's where the mercy come in on the Lord. He don't punish you for something that you don't know about. He punish you for things he know you know about and you ain't doing it. Everyone that defileth it shall be put to death. That soul going to be cut off. Go ahead and read.
6 days may work be done, but in the seventh day is the Sabbath of rest, holy to the Lord. Whosoever doeth any work in the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death.
Put to death? He keeps saying that. Killing you. Death. Sabbath. Go ahead and read.
Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath, to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations for a perpetual covenant.
Perpetual. How long is perpetual?
Always.
Always. Ongoing. Continuously. Non-stop. Non-stop. And you can't read nowhere where the Lord say, well, you ain't got to keep the Sabbath day no more. Just rest in me. He ain't said that in no place.
No.
You can't find that nowhere. You can't read that coming out of Jesus' mouth. And I tell you what, there's nowhere in the old book or in the new book, not one argument, not one contention, not one back and forth where you had men going back and forth on whether you should keep the Sabbath day or not. It's not in the book. What you did on the Sabbath day, that's what came up, because everybody knew you had to keep it. Nowhere. Nowhere. Go ahead and read.
17. It is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever.
For how long is forever?
Always.
Come on now. Go ahead and read.
For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed.
We're reading it again here. Go ahead and read.
And he gave unto Moses, when he had made an end of communing with him upon Mount Sinai, 2 tables of testimony, tables of stone, written with the finger of God.
Written with the finger of God. And we know that that was Jesus that had spoke all those words. This is Jesus that had wrote them with his own finger. Remember, the Sabbath day was with the rest of the 10 Commandments. Rest of the 9, I should say. It was there. The Lord wrote it on a stone. Jesus wrote them on a stone with his own finger. Moses didn't write them. The Lord wrote them. The Lord spoke them first in all their ears and then wrote them. The Sabbath day was included. Because, see, brothers and sisters, the Lord is trying to give us a future reminder. Let's see what this reminder is. Let's go to Psalms 132. Psalms 132.
Yes, sir.
He's reminding us of with this Sabbath day, brothers and sisters. So we don't forget. That's why we got it every week. We deal with it every week. And then he wouldn't make it a rotating Sabbath day either. Get you all confused. He all that sensitive about killing and destroying you for polluting it. Now he gonna move it around and he can make it complicated for you to keep it. Come on now. So you can trash that rotating Sabbath day. Psalms 132. And we're going to start reading at verse 3. 132 and 3. Go ahead and read.
Surely I will not come into the tabernacle of my house,
This is David. I ain't going in my house. Go ahead and read.
nor go up into my bed.
He ain't finna get in his bed. Go ahead and read.
I will not give sleep to mine eyes,
He ain't going to go to sleep. Go ahead and read.
or slumber to mine eyelids.
Now, why would he deprive himself of sleep and rest like that? Why would he do that? Go ahead and read.
Until I find out a place for the Lord and habitation for the mighty God of Jacob.
Oh, man, he want to do this for real, ain't he? He want to do this with all his might. He want to find out a habitation for the mighty God of Jacob. That's why he said, until I do that, I ain't going to my bed. I ain't going to sleep. I need to find out a place. Habitation means that's where you're going to live at. That's where you're going to dwell. And he said, I'm going to find a place for him. And I ain't going to sleep until I do it. I need to find a place for the mighty God of Jacob. Skip down to verse 8. Verse 8. Go ahead and read.
Arise, O Lord, into thy rest,
Uh-huh.
thou and the ark of thy strength.
Arise, O Lord, into your rest. Remember, he wanted to build a house for the Lord. But the Lord told him, no, you got too much blood on your hands. Lord told him, hey, no, I done went from tent to tent. At what point did you think I need somewhere to live at? I ain't told Israel when I brought them out of Egypt, hey, make me a house. Make me a dwelling. I ain't told him that. So Solomon built the house for him. So David is saying, arise, O Lord, into thy rest, thou and the ark of thy strength. Skip down to verse 11. Verse 11, look what the Lord said to David. Go ahead and read.
The Lord hath sworn in truth unto David.
Uh-huh.
He will not turn from it.
He ain't gonna change his mind. It said the Lord swore unto David. What did he swear to him?
Of the fruit of thy body will I set upon thy throne.
Of the fruit of thy body will I set upon thy throne. Of the fruit of thy body will I set. And he swore this. He ain't gonna change his mind. Who is doing this talking? Who is saying, well, I sit upon your throne, David, and I'm swearing to you. Jesus. Let's get an actual on him. Let's go to Luke, the first chapter. Hold your place here in 132. We're going to come back. Hold your place there in Psalms 132. We're coming back. Let's go over to Luke, the first chapter. Luke, the first chapter. David wants to find a habitation for the Lord. The Lord turned and said, hey, David, of the fruit of your body, I'm going to sit upon your throne. We're going to see who is this that told David that. Luke 1, and we're going to start reading at verse 26. Luke 1 and 26. Go ahead and read.
And in the 6th month, the angel Gabriel was sent from God unto a city of Galilee named Nazareth, to a virgin espoused to a man whose name was Joseph, of the house of David. And the virgin's name was Mary.
So the angel Gabriel was sent to Mary. This is Jesus' mother. Go ahead and read.
And the angel came in unto her and said, Hail, thou that art highly favored. The Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women.
Told her she highly favored and that she is blessed among women. What she feel about that? Go ahead and read.
And when she saw him, she was troubled at his saying.
She troubled at his saying. You tell people you highly favored, they go out, their heads swell up big. Or you ask a person, hey, what are you highly favored for? Now you got to fight. Now you got an enemy.
Right.
Smarty.
Right.